Hi there, Kris from Stone Age Gamer here, and welcome back to Stone Age Gaming. This is part 4 of an apparently ongoing series where I'm running through all the Nintendo Switch games that I think made that system Nintendo's best ever. I've always been a big Super Nintendo fan. I really didn't think anything in my lifetime would surpass that, but I gotta say, the time I've spent with the original Switch has just put it right over the top. There's been so many games that have just meant the world to me, in addition to most of my favorite Super Nintendo games also being on the system. So I really was only going to do a couple of these, but I keep finding more games in my collection that I'm like, no, this really was worth talking about. I got to talk about this one. I got to talk about this one. And if you know me at all, I can't shut up, as I'm proving right now. I cannot seem to stop talking. So let's stop me talking here and start me talking there and look at another set of, this time we're going to do digital only games, or at least games that I only own digitally on the Nintendo Switch that I think make that system Nintendo's best. Here we go. All right, here we are. Now, before I get started, yes, I know this is on my Switch too. I made this little list of all the games I was going to talk about, and then I did it on the Switch 2 instead of the Switch 1, and I didn't feel like recreating it on the Switch 1. Plus, the screen's bigger and brighter, and maybe it reads better on the camera. That's my excuse. Anyway, let's get started, and first we have Breakout Beyond. Now, this is a relatively newer game, and I know it's kind of silly to have a Breakout game be one of the games that defined the Switch generation for me, but I cannot really properly put into words how happy this game made me. So this was originally supposed to be an Intellivision Amico release. If you remember the Intellivision Amico saga, that was really an interesting piece of video game history there, and it's basically Breakout, one of my classic favorite games, through the lens of Choice Provisions, which is the company that did the Bit Trip games, which are some of my favorites of all time. And I was completely floored by this. I was like, well, I guess I'm buying an Intellivision Amico, because there's no way I'm not going to have this game. And then the Amico basically turned into vaporware, and this game disappeared along with it, and just, I want to say earlier this year, it just rematerialized as Breakout Beyond, and it just made me so happy to play it. I loved it. I've gone back to it dozens of times since finishing it. It's one of my favorite games to just kind of put on and play from time to time. It's freaking marvelous. It's probably the best version of Breakout I think I've ever played, and they keep updating it too, which is super fun. They just did an update that allows you to play it in vertically, which I haven't tried yet because I've been busy playing Donkey Kong Bonanza, but that's neither here nor there. This game's amazing. It is absolutely amazing. I love the way it sounds. The sound effects of you playing the game kind of match the rhythm of the music. It looks incredible. It's so rewarding to play. I was just dumbfounded by how good it actually came out. It was exactly what I wanted it to be. When I saw that first trailer for it on the Amico, I was like, this looks amazing, and it's exactly what I wanted it to be. Couldn't be happier with it. It's just beautiful. It's magnificent. I love it to tiny bits. All right, next up, let's talk about Dodo. Speaking of arcade-style games, I've played games that have looked like old games before, right? That's kind of a modern thing that a lot of indie studios like to do, is make new games that look like older games. And very few of them have ever actually truly captured the proper magic and, let's say, insanity of really old games. And then Dodo happened, and it nails it. It nails it 150,000%. It looks, sounds, and plays like something you would have found in an arcade in the 80s and blown you away, right? Like, because it looks ever so slightly more capable than I think those old games did. Like, when you look at it now, you're like, this looks extraordinarily retro, but then you compare it to something like the games that this seems to be pulling a lot from, like Popeye and Burger Time and Donkey Kong, and it is so much more active. It's really astounding. This game's so much fun. I do love it here on the Switch. I think I played the most of it on the Switch. I did play a lot of this on the Atari VCS, not gonna lie. There was a decent amount of VCS action playing with Dodo, and really anything that this Pixel studio does, I have bought since Cash Cow DX is outstanding. Looney Landers is available on Atari VCS. I think it's coming to Switch eventually. Both outstanding games, but really Dodo is the king of the hill. This game is a freaking masterpiece. I love every second of it. I love this game so much. and it kind of kicked off this love of these other wonderful games that are of a similar ilk, like Annalyn is another game like this. There's been a decent handful of games that are like old arcade games, but they're brand new games on the Switch and other platforms as well. But the Switch was where it worked best for me. So all of my love to that. Speaking of love, Gimmick II. I know this one was a tiny bit divisive with Gimmick fans. So I had never really played the original Gimmick, and then a friend of mine named Sal got me. He got me a copy to play on original hardware with the proper soundtrack, and the game just blew me away. It was such a magical game. So when I heard that they were making a sequel to it, I was extremely nervous, right? Because Gimmick had so much potential, but there was really no way that they could ever properly lived up to that on the NES. Even though the original Gimmick really pushes the NES extraordinarily hard, it does a lot of really awesome stuff. It was re-released on the Switch. It's good, but there's a lot of input lag in the game, so it's like, this is a precision platformer, so the new version of Gimmick, if you can play it on an original NES, on original hardware, that's the way to do it. But if you can't, then there's nothing terribly wrong with the new version on the modern platforms. It has a rewind button. But anyway, neither here nor there. Gimmick 2 absolutely delivered. I was fully obsessed with this game while I was playing through it for review. It looks great. It sounds great. They got one of my favorite game composers, David Wise, to do the soundtrack. He did a marvelous job. It really kind of played up the sort of puzzle platformer aspects of Gimmick. So I know that there are folks that liked, I guess, more of the action-based things in the original Gimmick more than... They went an interesting route with this. They took the things that I loved about the original game and expanded upon them, but they weren't the things that everybody loved about the original game, so I guess I understand why those criticisms exist. But for me personally, this is an extraordinarily worthy sequel to a game that I thought was just going to be lost in time forever. I couldn't have been happier with this. I love it to bits. Please give it a try if you've never played Gimmick before. It's really, really good. Really, really, really good. Speaking of really, really good, Hollow Knight. I mean, of course, Hollow Knight. This game is a freaking legend already, and it's not even that old. I didn't get this game at first. I really wasn't too fond of it at first. I tried playing it for a little while. This game's got some serious map issues. I do not like the map system in this game at all. I tried it for a little bit. It was recommended to me, and I just couldn't get into it. And then I took some time off, and I came back to it, and all of a sudden it just clicked with me, and then I could not put it down. It's just the world that it builds, the art direction, and the feeling of exploration once you kind of get the hang of what the game wants you to do is outstanding. It's of this type of game, this exploratory action game, this is one of the best. Like, I love those kinds of games. This is one of the best there's ever been. Silk Song, I'm sure if it comes out someday, it'll be great. I'm not holding my breath. In the meantime, Hollow Knight is so worth your time. It's such a magnificent game. It runs great on the Switch. Can't recommend it enough. It was just it was a game that became a genuine obsession, and I love it. Speaking of genuine obsessions, Picross. So, long time ago, Mario's Picross released on Game Boy, and I thought it was one of the most brilliant puzzle games I ever played. And I just kept playing it over and over again for like 13 years before we got another one, because I guess Mario's Picross didn't do great here in the States, so we never got the sequels. There was a Super Nintendo one, and I think a second Game Boy one. There was just a bunch more Mario's Picross, but it never came over here to the United States, and then Picross DS happened. And I was like, oh, finally, new Picross! And then the floodgates just opened. There was another, like a 3D Picross, which was super cool. I wish they'd do another one of those. But then on the 3DS, they started doing these like Picross E ones, which were great. And when the Switch launched, they came out with Picross S, and I think they're up to like Picross S9 or something now. They just keep dropping more and more Picross. It's a genuine obsession. My wife got into it too. She's played all of them. I actually haven't even made it through all the Picross S's yet because I don't have the time. But whenever I can, I love to spend a little bit of time with Picross. There's a Sega Picross, there's a Namco Picross. I wish they'd do like a Nintendo one. I wish they'd do more of those fun crossover ones, because those are really fun, because you get to do Picrosses of classic sprites. In case you don't know what Picross is, it's picture crossword. You basically have a grid, there's numbers on the top and the side, and you have to basically figure out how to draw a picture based on those numbers. It's like a simple math puzzle kind of thing. I'm okay at it. I know people are way better than I am at it, but I find it very relaxing and very fun. All right, this one comes with a couple of caveats here. This is the Pinball Arcade. Now, specifically, this one right here, I love this game because of something. I'm going to go ahead and launch it. I love this game because of something you can't really do with it anymore. So it's my understanding. Wow, I didn't load this virtual game card before, did I? All right, well, let's get this loaded up here so I can show you what I'm talking about. So if I remember this saga correctly, my favorite pinball games ever are The Twilight Zone and Taxi, because a long, long time ago, I used to go on vacation with my family, and there was an arcade nearby, and it had those pinball games. Those were the ones that kind of introduced me to the world of pinball, like real pinball. I love them. I love both of those tables so much, and you never see them around, especially Taxi. I've come across Twilight Zone pinball games a handful of times, and I always try to play it when I find it. But Taxi, I just never see Taxi around. So this came out on the Switch, and then there was all of a sudden DLC that included those games, and I was like, oh my god, I got to get those immediately. So I did. I picked up. Let's see, where's my tables? I picked them up, and I got these packs that had those games in it, and scrolling. Star Trek. There's Taxi and Twilight Zone. There they are, and they look great. They play great, and most importantly, they have the sounds. They have all the sounds from the original tables. But it's my understanding that this company didn't have the rights to do that on Switch. So they got pulled from the shop almost immediately, but not before I was able to buy them. So I've still been able to play these, and you can see right here, they are functional on my Switch 2, which is magnificent. I guess I'm fortunate enough to be able to have these, and they're not going to take them from me, and I'm sure they will someday. But oh my god, being able to play these games at home, being able to mess around with the Twilight Zone pinball and Taxi at my house with them making all the sounds that they make. I just have this on mute because I don't want to screw up my video here, but they're not. I want to say, like, for some reason the gravity on this one is not great. Why aren't you doing things? Oh, because I'm pressing the wrong buttons, I think it's the triggers. Yeah, it's the triggers. I was pressing the L and R buttons. Can't really press the triggers while my Switch 2 is laying down there. But yes, there is Twilight Zone pinball. It's there. It works great. The gravity's a little off on this one. I feel like the ball moves too fast on this, because playing this is pretty different from playing it in person. But either way, I love it. It's like a dream come true to be able to play these games in my house, even if it's not, perfect, like actually pressing the buttons on a pinball table. It's really nice. You can rotate the screen. There you go. So you can rotate the screen, and I know in the what's it called, the flip grip on the original Switch, this works pretty well with that, which is wonderful. And yeah, it's just, I know it's a silly thing, but it means the world to me that I'm able to do that on this system. And I'm so glad that I'm able to keep them, even though it seems like I could have sworn they were going to, like, at the very least not be able to work this on the Switch 2, but there it is. It's up and running, so yay! All right, these ones I'm going to talk about as a package. This is Portal 2, and Bridge Constructor Portal. These two are available as the Portal Companion Collection, I think is what it's called. And then this is Bridge Constructor Portal, which is a spin-off of Portal, but it's very Portal. That's a lot of times to say the word Portal in a sentence. Okay, so Portal and Portal 2 are some of the best games ever made. They're not just some of my favorite games. I truly believe in my heart of hearts that these are about as close to perfection as games can get. They're beyond marvelous. And I remember when they, like the orange box was released on Xbox 360, I was always upset that they didn't make a version of it for Nintendo's platforms. Like, it didn't hit the Wii, it didn't hit the Wii U, and that always made me sad. But these finally showing up on the Switch were amazing, because the Switch is, for me, is such a perfect pick up and play system. Like, you can get in and out of games so quickly that they work as well as they do. They look wonderful, they run brilliantly, and they are just some of the most perfect games ever. And then Portal 2's co-op mode, I played through that with my son, which is not something that he was at the right age now to be able to play through this with me, and he played through a bunch of the games too. They're just incredible. And I gotta say the same thing with Bridge Constructor Portal. Like, I think Bridge Constructor is its own thing, so this is like a crossover between Portal and that. It's got the voice of Gladys doing a whole bunch of narration. It's a very similar style of puzzle solving, where you've just got to use different portals to get something from point A to point B, and you've got to build bridges that go through different portals to get this like forklift with portal-looking stick figures off to safety. It's awesome. It's really, really interesting. I think it's totally worthy of the Portal name, and I can't say enough good things about it. All right, this one comes with a caveat. Because I don't actually like this game all that much, but it's extremely important to me. Let me explain. So this game's called Rad. It is from Double Fine. It's neat. It's an okay game, but I had to point it out because this was the first game that I ever professionally reviewed. This was the first game. So I got this dream job working at Nintendo Force magazine. And I was writing about all kinds of stuff for the magazine, and eventually they asked if I wanted to start reviewing games as well, and I was like, absolutely, I would love that challenge of trying to professionally review games, and this was my first review. So it's a neat game. If you can get it on sale, I say sure, give it a go. You're a dude and you're running around in this like post-apocalyptic world, and you can like upgrade yourself with different mutations and stuff. It's certainly interesting. I thought the music was really cool. It didn't quite jive with me 100%, so I didn't give it a very good score, but I didn't give it, I didn't trash it. I didn't give it a bad score, but I agonized over this game so much because it was my first review. It was my first, like, not just some dude writing on an internet, but the internet. Somebody was paying me. I got a review code, and it was the first time that it ever happened, and I was really nervous about it. And so this game, for as silly and kind of forgettable as it is, will always be one of the most important games in my life because it kicked off me reviewing games, which is now a regular part of my job at Nintendo Force, is reviewing stuff, and I love doing it, and I think I've gotten okay at it. I still overthink things a lot, but I think that's what you want out of a game reviewer, somebody who does overthink it and spends a lot of time analyzing the details and avoiding other people's reviews like the plague so they don't accidentally plagiarize something or have it taint my own personal opinions. And rad is rad, but that's why that game means so much to me. All right, I got a couple more here. This is Runner 3. I threw Runner 2 next to it anyway, even though this is one of the games that kind of defined the Wii U for me more than the Switch. But I love the fact that it exists on Switch because it's a bit more playable there than it was on Wii U. But neither here nor there. Runner 3. So, Runner 3 is the most ambitious runner game that is in the Bit Trip Runner series. And I 100% completed it. All the weird medallions and stuff, the branching paths, I found all of it. This game, again, genuine obsession. Once I got the hang of it, it's really freaking hard, though. It's way harder than Runner 2. Because of how ambitious it is, sometimes it's hard to tell where you're going. These games, if you've never played Runner, they're auto runners. You're Commander Video, this little black stick figure looking dude, and you just run forward and you have to jump and slide and kick and stuff to just kind of make it to the end of these obstacle courses. The music is amazing. The presentation is extremely colorful and bizarre, and now I really want to boot this up on the Switch too to see how well it runs, because it's not that it ran poorly on the Switch, not by a long shot, but it did have a couple of frame rate issues, and I gotta wonder how it holds up on the Switch 2. I'm actually kind of excited right now to see how this works. I hadn't even thought about it. I haven't properly... Oh, this is going to take a little while to download, so I'm probably not going to get to do this on video, but that's fine. Yeah, we're not going to talk for another 5 minutes while this downloads, but I'm going to try it afterwards. Look, it is not perfect. It does have a couple of issues in the transition of making aspects of it 3D, but it is still so worth playing, and it breaks my heart to know that this did not sell as well as Runner 2 did, and that's just a tragedy because it is so much more ambitious, so interesting. It's narrated by Charles Martinet, the original voice, not original, the most popular voice of Mario for the longest time, starting with Super Mario 64, technically going all the way back to the Super Mario Bros. Pinball game, but again, that's me getting into the weeds. You can even unlock him as a playable character. It's so good. It's so much fun, and really, once you get the hang of the way it works, it's just an absolute blast to play. Can't recommend it enough. They updated it to add more checkpoints after I had already beaten the crap out of the game, so it was like, all right, fine, that's fine. Yeah, everything's fine. I did it the hard way, but I'm glad it's easier for more people now than it was when I was doing it. It does take a bit to get used to, but boy, I cannot recommend it enough. It's so good, and it was one of the earliest games released on the Switch. So it kind of, I feel like it got overshadowed by, I guess, other things that were happening at the time, but I remember so specifically playing through chunks of this game in my car during breaks when I used to go into an office to work, and it's just marvelous. I love Runner 3, and again, I can't say its soundtrack is so good. The music in this game is unbelievable. All right, the last one we're going to talk about today is Snake Pass. All right, now again, this isn't one of those games that's a phenomenal game. It's really well done. It's really interesting. So you play as a snake whose name is Noodle, and you've got a hummingbird friend named Doodle, and you basically use the controls in a kind of an unconventional way to move around as a snake. So the game is like almost like an adventure platformer, but it's all about slithering instead. Like, you can't jump. You don't move like a regular character. You have to kind of move left and right with the triggers to move your snake around like a snake would move. It's a really interesting concept. It doesn't always translate to a fun concept, but it is always interesting, and it's a very well put together game. But again, this is another one of the earliest Switch games, so it got a ton of play from me just because there wasn't a whole lot else on the system quite yet. But what really makes this game, like, I did wind up finishing the game. I didn't go back to 100% it, but I did finish it. But what keeps this game in my constant rotation of like thought is its soundtrack is incredible. This is again music by David Wise, one of my very favorite game composers, and boy did he knock it out of the park with this one. Really, the music in this is just so joyous. Especially the music for the first world that you're in is just, oh my god, it brings me so much joy to listen to. It's been on my regular rotation ever since it came out in 2017, and it hasn't left since. It's just the kind of thing that I love going back to, and it is a really cool game, and I would love to see a sequel to it. I guess at this point I'd be shocked if it happened. I would love to see a follow-up because I thought these characters were really well designed. It's bright, it's colorful, and it was kind of fun to play, and I think with a little bit more refining, it could be even better. So Snake Pass, 1 thumb up, music 10,000 thumbs up. Very interesting game, worth playing, and another reason that I just love the Switch, because I loved this game, my kids loved watching me play it. Just awesome stuff. And there you have it. That's another selection of games for the original Switch that made that system so very important to me, and why I love them as much as I do, and why I love the system as much as I do, which is quite a lot. It's my favorite system ever. I love it to bits, and the Switch 2 is off to a pretty solid start, so maybe that one will even surpass this someday. Who knows? But in the meantime, I think I've got a couple more of these in me. As I was going through the list of games for this one, I was like, I don't want to do more than 10 because the video is going to be too long. But this is another one, and another one, and another one, and there's more physical games to get to, and it's a mess. I think I got 2 more of these in me, and then I'll be done, and maybe I'll start covering other platforms. I don't know. This has been a really fun thing to do. So if you enjoyed this, let me know. Thanks for watching. If you like what you saw here today, please follow, comment, like, subscribe, share, and like I said, let me know in the comments, are you enjoying this content? Is this worthwhile? Because I'm having a blast just sitting here talking about games. That's all I ever want to do with my life is just talk about games. So thank you again for watching, and on behalf of all of us here at Stone Age Gamer, keep playing games.